I'm freaking out, man.
You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men with power want? More power.
My name is Gianluca Zanna. I was an Italian by birth, and I became an American by choice. Our lives and freedoms are in danger. This is not a drill. If you're listening to this broadcasting, you are the resistance.
All systems go.
Welcome to Love, Guns, and Freedom. Here we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna on K-Talks 1340 AM and the United States FM network. I tell you, this shows that they're getting more and more into topics that there is always something to learn. That's one of the reasons why I really want to stay on the air. I don't care if it's on K-Talks or any other station or even just on the internet. The fact that I'm having guests the last 2 years, since I started to be on the air by accident, I never really wanted to, I had the opportunity to learn so much. Sometimes things that probably you don't want to know about it, but I think it's better to know, because this is like a train. This train is coming fast, loaded towards you. You can still put your head in the sand, that's fine, but the train is still gonna hit you. So I rather to know what's going on, at least I have a chance to move myself from the train, or maybe to stop the train before it arrives to us. And that's why this is the purpose of the show. Try to learn and try to share. And I tell you, there are some things that I'm learning right now that I wished really they weren't true. I hope to be wrong. I pray people can prove me wrong. And you know, on this show, I have 3-hour show. It's a weekly show. So I don't have a daily show. I do other things for life, okay? Barely I can put up with 3 hours a week. But I love to do the best when I come here, the 3 hours. I want to give you facts, news that normally you would not even have a chance to think. Forget about listening on other stations. One thing that really shocked and scared the hell out of me, something that I learned about almost 2 years ago, to a friend. His name is Ken, from Michigan, about these targeted individuals. At the beginning I said, what is that? And I'm not trying to put things down, because, you know, I'm the one that after I learned about 9/11, there was a fraud, because all you have to do is use your brain. And I don't want to waste time over that now. That's the bottom line. But the point is, after you've been lied so many times, and you know that we have documents and proofs that the United States government, or at least part of it, like many other governments around the world, they've been testing on civilians without their consent and will, different things, from chemical, biological, nuclear, any type of things that people should go to jail to test this type of things on you. And it's been proven, declassified. So my mind is open. I don't put anybody down. But see, of course, I want proofs. Of course, I do my researches. So anyway, 2 years ago, Ken from Michigan, Ken Rhodes, started to talk to me about these target individuals. And I say, what? And then he started to realize that this is real. And then when you start to find the patents, when you start to find the declassified documents, and then when you start to find people that have a lot of credibility. I mean, I had on my show last couple months ago, almost, this former NSA whistleblower, Karen Stewart, talking about target individuals. And how there is technology out there that can influence your mind, your thought, and also torture you physically and mentally. Pretty hard to believe, right? Guess what? Let me tell you a little bit. Today I have another guest, and I will be talking about this. And I wish I could talk more. But the problem is, you know, I have 3-hour show every week, and I need to try to touch different topics, so I cannot just focus on one thing only. But I tell you, this is so important. I tell you why. This show is called Love, Guns, and Freedom. If they can control our will, we have no more freedom. We will not have any more love. And for sure, we won't have any guns. That's the bottom line. And there is this technology right now that can influence your thoughts. That's a fact. They probably maybe now using it on small scale. We don't know for sure, but they're using it. And what really I believe that they're gonna try to do, and right now you can already see what's happening with these masses of idiots out there. They cannot even tie their shoes, but they go to vote. It is not just the secret weapon from the government. I mean, the education system is a weapon of mass control. The television box is a weapon of mass control. The garbage that you eat, GMO food and fluoride in the water, is a weapon of mass control. That's the point. But this is just the first layer. Then there is the heavy-duty, hardcore technology that is already there. And that's what I want to talk today. And I have a guest. According to her story, she's going through hell. Her name is Patty. And I'm going to be sure that I say the last name. She's going to say the last name because I don't want to start to mistaken. Patty, are you there?
Yes.
What is your last name, Patty? Because my brain is so fuming right now.
Just call me Patty Lee.
Patty Lee, perfect. You know, Patty, I'm going to give you the microphone. I'll shut up for a moment. Hard to do it, but I'll do it. And I'll let you talk. I want you to introduce yourself, who you are, before even we go into the topics that we are talking now. And then, of course, I'm going to ask you questions. And my only goal here, it is not to impress anybody or to create any type of things like, oh my God, we have a controversial show. No, my goal is to educate people about facts, that we are all under danger. And there's a reality out there, that there is a secret part, or at least a part of the government, who has technology that is using it against our own citizens and also against people around the world, that you cannot really see it, but you can feel it, and they can control your mind, and they can also torture you from distance. That's a fact, and I want your help to bring facts and evidence about that. Go ahead, please. I'll give you the floor. Who are you?
Now, I'm basically, I'm not a whistleblower. A lot of the targeted individuals are people who had spoke out about some injustice or shined a light on something that happened, but not all. And, you know, when Dr. John Hall, who is also exposing this crime, has been gathering statistics, 70% of the people that are targeted for this testing are single women.
Wow.
So,
Interesting.
yes. And some people say it's a little lower, 60 to 70, but he says 70% because a lot of people have written to him and talked to him, and there seems to be a pattern that a lot are single women. And they're also bright and educated women. I mean, it's not, you know, so it's not like, it's kind of a surprise who they pick, but I guess not really because, you know, they're looking for people that they can attack and not have retaliation, if you know where I'm going with that.
I understand. And let me tell you something. You're right. There is a pattern, and I start to realize too, because I start to meet people. Single woman is the one that normally has no family to back her up also, and of course no other man. So they want to isolate it. You really don't know where to go. That's the point. Go ahead, please. You're right.
So, but basically, I entered this, I'm going to call it a program, because once you are put on this list, you are human trafficked through a variety of experiments. Some people that are targeted have been put in over the last 4 or 5 years. I was put in much earlier. I know I have been in it for sure, according to my documents and my investigation, for 20 years. However, when I was a young teen, my parents died. And in my late teens, I had some bizarre things happening to me that were just scary events. But I was bright, and I went out and made something of myself. I wrote TV and radio commercials for a living. I was an account executive. I kind of wrote it off as bad luck. You know, back then, I don't know if you remember, we all had the goal-setting books, and I'm 57 now, so this is a long time ago.
Wow.
And, you know, you're going to be successful, and you got to be positive, and I just kind of made things happen in spite of all the bizarre things that were happening to me. But, so, I have no criminal background. I've never hurt anyone, did anything unusual. I haven't, exposed a crime or, basically just someone who is just living their life or trying to anyway. And about 20 years ago, I started having bizarre events happen to me that were affecting my health dramatically. Now, I want to tell you, I'm a big believer in natural foods.
Mm-hmm.
I've been studying it since I was 17 years old.
Okay.
I did all the nutritional. I rollerblade like 5 miles a day. I was a runner, a swimmer. So I was in relatively good health, and I suddenly started taking a decline, and it was a bizarre decline. And, and I knew something was wrong, but I had no idea what it was.
Can I ask you something? When did you start to really realize that something was wrong with you? How long ago?
That was the gang stalking. And that was about, let's see, I was 49 and I'm 57. Was about 40 when I was about 49. I started realizing that I had gang stalkers, and and the word that most people call it or prefer to use is organized gang stalking. And the reason it's called organized gang stalking is because there's a very large group of people that have your name in their phones. Okay, now this technology wasn't possible, or maybe if it was, it wasn't as readily accessible when I first became, in this program or whatever whatever for lack of better words. So basically, all these people know that you're in this, and I actually got a close-up look of a stalker's cell phone, and they have little mini profiles that they go down. So whenever you're in the area, they get a notification.
Now, let me stop you 1 second, because, I try always to put myself on the other side. That means the person that out of the blue is tuning in and say, what are you talking about? Are you crazy, both of you? Especially the guy with the accent must be really crazy to even bringing it up. Let me tell you something, guys, because before we go ahead, everything we're talking here, there is more than just you talking. We have documents and facts, and there are things that we can prove. And this is the point. There are declassified documents. They've been experimenting on us on different levels. And then also people may say, why are they doing this? Why now, whoever is behind in this point, of course, there is some sort of a part of the government or even a shadow government doing that. Why they're doing this? And now we'll go there too. So I say, please, guys, have an open mind. Because this is serious stuff. This is not hocus pocus. Please have an open mind, listen, and do your researches. Continue, please. I want just to be sure people know we are not playing around here.
Okay. Now, when we go back to, I think that the gang stalking was what made me aware, because what the organized gang stalking does is it doesn't look like anything to anyone else. Okay, now I live in a very quiet, or was a quiet neighborhood, where there wasn't a lot of cars that came at once. A good example is I visited a friend out on a farm. It's like almost in the middle of nowhere. And he suddenly had main traffic going up and down. And he jumped on his four-wheeler, and he said, oh, that is not normal. He said, I've lived here for 10 years. I said to him, I said, Joe, I said, that's what happens wherever I go. And it was like a major road, and we're out in the middle of nowhere. So basically, it's abnormal amounts of people in a very small space. And if you do any studies on types of torture, of course, we all have what's called personal space. And, to have somebody very close to you and following you and watching you every second is basically what their job is to do. And whether you're up to we're talking about, you're just like today I went to the post office and I had a lady that kept trying to see what I was sending in the mail.
But listen, Patty, I want to say something though. There is always some idiots out there that doesn't mind the business, okay? I mean, the point is, I'm sure there is, of course, different cases, but also in our life, I want to be sure and people understand there is also situation. They could be also, let's say, coincidences. But after the third, fourth time, the coincidence become a statistic. That's a fact. So once in a while, yeah, you may have also a real idiot out there that was trying to get too close to you, or try to maybe follow you just because, I don't know. But the point is, after the
Right.
third, fourth times, there is
Right.
no more coincidence. So I'm open here, guys. I'm not saying everybody, just because you have the sensation somebody's following you, means that you're targeted. That's not the case. There are cases and
Right.
cases, okay? Be sure, be clear. Go ahead.
Well, basically, it's the pattern of it. Now, this might help a little bit better. When the gang stalking started, at first it was very young guys, and I was on the internet. So my older son said, "Mom, get off the internet. Whatever site you're on, you're drawing a bunch of perverts." And I said, "No, these are young, good-looking guys, and they're just trailing around everywhere." And he said, "Mom," are you sure?" I said, "No, I'm telling you." And they would look at me to let me know that they were looking at me. See, part of it is not just like people driving by. They do things to make sure you recognize them. And they'll do the same thing so that you know something's going on. You don't know what's going on at first, but you know something's going on. Well, at that point, I was kind of amused by it, because when you're older, there's, it was like, oh, there's all kind of young guys, waving at me, looking at me. And I tried to tell my friends, and they said, nah. And we went out one night, and they were like lined up. I said, what's going on? So anyway, then next time when there was hooded young girls, they had hoods on. That went on for about a month. Every time someone went by, and you could tell it was a young girl, they had a hood on, a hoodie. And you couldn't see their faces real well, but when you got up close, you knew it was a girl. I thought, no, why? Then it was older people. I mean, we're talking very senior, and they all had angry looks on their faces. So it went through patterns where they were doing this different stuff to let me know that they were always around.
This is the psychological part, because we're talking about two different aspects: a physical pain and also a psychological, let's say, sense of harassment. That I don't know
Right.
exactly what is their final goal. Maybe to study how do you react or behave, or if you lose your mind.
Well-
I don't know. Why you think they're doing this? What is their goal? To have all these resources to make you look like you're stalked.
Well, let me tell you, when you're in these experiments, okay, isolation is extremely important. Think of a lab rat, okay? Everybody uses the word lab rat, but we really don't tear it down in our mind.
Yeah.
They have made this remote experimentation, or what the CIA and those guys called field work, whenever they closed the shop so that people couldn't. They went to the field work. And basically, what's happening is they are trying to discredit you. One of the first things they do is isolate and discredit, and also they make you poor. And how can they conduct experiments if people are watching and seeing all the oddball things that are going on that are not normal? How can, when it first started out, I was relatively successful. I wasn't real wealthy, but I just went out and got all kind of cameras. And just to kind of give you a little background, one of the first things that happened to me was the break-ins. And all targeted individuals, even though we never met each other, all have similar similar situations. I mean, they're almost identical, but we don't even know each other. And they're breaking in, vandalism, bizarre vandalism. I would come home, and keep in mind I'm a professional. My kids are with babysitting, and I pick them up, come home, and all my downspouts are down. All of them, not one. It wasn't raining. It wasn't windy. And I had just been outside. So I mean, you call the police, you say, and they say, who would come out and tear your downspouts down? I said, I don't know.
Let me sum it up 1 second what's going on here, because I try always to get all this in a simple way to people we can understand, because I'm trying to understand too. The idea is there is a part of the population, at least a select group of people, that maybe we don't know exactly why yet. Maybe you can give us more details why, but they anyway represent some sort of a profile. So far, normally we know that there are people that they are kind of single, could be women, of course they're also men, but the typical target could be, let's say, a person who has not much opportunity to defend himself or herself. Normally a single woman is a good target. That's the idea. And there are some experimentations, and people may laugh at me, that's fine. But when you start to look, for example, how the US government has been experimenting on civilians, especially with the mind control, MK Ultra, this is just in the 70s, 60s, and they are declassified documents, and Senate, a congressional investigation, and they were told to shut it down. That's not a conspiracy, guys. So before you start laugh, let's start to look at the past and the records, what's going on and what's been going on before. So right now, we're talking with Patty, that she's a targeted individual, and the point is, what happens in your life, like you said, like a lab rat. They start to harass you, gang stalking you, and you go into this sort of almost going crazy because pretty much you start to see things that you don't want to believe at the beginning. I mean, everybody's looking at me, everybody's following me, and then you realize that they have a plan and they're coordinated by other people. And the reason why we think, because maybe they want to study how you react to such behavior, to such, let's say, type of aggression, because indirectly it's an aggression too. Then, as you said, they start to violate your space. That means people start to breaking in their homes. Am I right so far in the summarization of this story so far? I want to just be sure I got it down right.
If I can just give you a quick preview, when they break in,
yes,
they are. We thought, most of us thought we were being poisoned, but they were actually putting this nano and various technologies in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So keep in mind, while we're going through this, they have sensors. They're reading our emotions. They're reading our reactions.
Mm-hmm.
This is a test. This is an experiment. And it's all done remotely. So whenever I was getting sick, I went to the doctor, did all the tests, and it wasn't any common poison. But when these are heavy metals, they're encased in plastic. It's not healthy stuff to ingest, and they're very, very tiny. So people say, well, how could this happen? Well, all you have to do is look up smart dust or nanotechnology. I mean, they've been studying this. When you're in a test subject, you're getting the stuff way before it's publicized. Way before. Why? They don't have anything to say. They don't know anything. They do these preliminaries. Then they start writing their journals. Then they have a little educated opinion, and then they further the studies. And so basically, we all had the same thing. Well, when they do the discrediting and they tear down your life, you know something's happening, and you think it's some kind of hate crime. So the first thing you do is start thinking about who did what guy did you date that's crazy, or who's doing this. But the funny thing about it is that the police do not respond at all. They will not take reports in most cases. They usually joke it off. Well, I'm sorry, but somebody breaking and entering into my home is not funny. And secondly, if you have no background in mental illness and there's nothing you've ever done, why would they be amused or not take you seriously? Well, there's a reason why. Because somehow this list, like we're talking about, that which is circulated, they know who's in this. And I don't know how much information they're given. I don't know if they're just told, hey, this is classified, or stay out of this, or she's under investigation, or this is national security. Some way we are made taboo during this time so that people do not help us.
Yes.
We don't. Yeah.
And, this is the point now where we are, because I see that from this sort of psychological experimentation, I don't know how you're going to lose it, I guess, how much the human mind can stay sane, why they see what type of buttons they can push. I see also there is another aspect, is a physical aspect, because I see, I'll give you an example. I I know that there is a technology. This is a fact. I did my researches, and I invite everybody else out there that they can start to put in your brain sounds or voices. So much that this technology is also available for civilians, of course, in a small scale, lower budget. With $3,000-$4,000, you can buy a machine that I can put a sound in your mind being 50, 60, 100 years away. And nobody else can hear anything but you. Think about that technology. Probably with a few $1,000,000 more, they can put maybe DEX signal from a satellite, and they can make you hear voices, or they can start to make you have visions, or make you have bad thoughts. What type of power they can have? They can pretty much play with us like, where they were playing with the Indians when they were showing mirrors or other things. They thought it was like some sort of a magic. So this is a fact. This technology exists. Now, how can we prove that it's being used against civilians and without permits? That's very not difficult. All you gotta do, all the many declassified documents, look just at the sky, what they're doing to us without our permission, what type of garbage we are breathing every day, how many times that plane is gonna crisscross over your home and you're breathing the garbage, called weather modification and much more. So that's another story. But my point is, now it becomes something that also is the next level. Can be physical, and it's not just more about trying to control your behavior with other people around, but also with technology. I see that you have photos on your Facebook page with the part of your body with some sort of strange, let's say, red, almost burning. I don't know exactly what it is. Let me ask you, what do you have on your body? What's going on?
Those are laser burns. I actually, and just so everyone knows, I had paid a great deal of money to have this investigated, and this crime has been proven. Had I had this investigated 15 years ago, the technology would not have been in the hands of the people to do it. But like you said, the technology is out there, and good people are now investigating this. And I paid professionals, an investigator and toxologist and doctors and the whole slew of people to find out what was happening. And those are, I was told those are laser burns. And they burn me very often. There's a variety of weapons that are used on me. After I ingested these nanotechnologies and sensors, which we actually got some sensors out of my body, and they're in my evidence.
Do you have evidence of that? Do you have evidence of this technology that has been extracted from your body?
Yes. Yes.
How can we see that? How can we see that?
Huh?
How can we see that? You have photos or things that we can put online?
Well, it's in my case right now. I'm not really allowed to do that yet. But no, but it is there.
You say case means you have in a lawsuit? I mean, you sued?
I have a case. Yes, and I have a lawyer.
Okay, good. Okay, so that's good, because at least hopefully one day we can see that in the court of law with evidence, and you can call, and subpoena people and put them in some sort of a deposition. That would be great. I'm excited to hear that.
So basically, once this technology was in me, the reason they hit you with the weapons is when they hit you with the weapons, it puts the sensors in a place of whatever experiment they're trying to do. So then once those sensors or the nano is positioned within your body, they can hit you from the air by drone or satellite.
Yes.
The stalkers, when they go by, they have handheld weapons. I'm going to give you little tidbits of things that was proven, but Raytheon has a device that is a handheld microwave that you can purchase for about $1,000. And I had a group of women that were coming really quickly and close to me, stalkers, and they were like almost as quick to get down when I'm on the road, as close as they could get, or when I was going into the house. And they were aiming at my face. And in my photograph, you might have seen some of them on Facebook, there's light. All you could see is radiation, just radiation light around me. And basically, that is a weapon that takes moisture and oil out of your skin and your nutrients. And I started aging rapidly, so I notified the people who were investigating and said they're using a different weapon on me. And that's what we came up with. So this is a handheld microwave being shot at my face as part of this testing. The conclusion of my investigation was that I'm weapon testing, which is just horrifying. I mean, just horrifying.
Now, you found a lawyer that took this case. I'm quite, because it's pretty hard to find. That's pretty amazing. I mean, even just to get the credibility, because it's not even just about the money. This is about a lawyer that is going to also face, technically, I mean, it's a dangerous game. Okay, and
well, we haven't even been able to get the ACLU to help us, and this would be the kind of case that they should be, spearheading. They should be the ones moving this forward, because they deal with this kind of stuff, things that little lawyers won't handle or other lawyers won't handle. But they will not. They even had a recording at one point on the ACLU saying, if you are a gang stalking victim, we cannot help you. They actually had that recording. I was so mad.
Wow. Now, this is
and
so serious.
Thousands of people are calling them, and they're saying we can't help you.
The sad thing is that for the people that they don't have any type of idea what's going on, they've never been touched. This is like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me, right? And they're laughing at you. And that's exactly why this evil is flourishing. Because good people, they're not even willing to listen. That's the point. And I'm telling you, I know that it's a tough topic. I know that many radio stations don't even want to talk about it because they don't want to even be able to think that they want to start to call you names and make fun of you. I don't care. This is probably one of the most important things. If we can prove, and we will prove, and we already have proofs, by the way, on many issues, that we've been experimented on many levels. And it's not just the mind, but it's, of course, we're talking about our bodies and how they can control our health, our aging system. You're talking about nanotechnology. This is not just some sci-fi movie. It's out there. It's real science with the patents. And they can do everything they want with nanotechnology. It means they really know that we know that their goal is to, let's say, depopulate the planet by 90%. And people may say, are you kidding me? Guess what? Go to see who is sitting right now as a czar of science in the White House. J.P. Holdren. Read that book, Eco-Science. And I'm not going to say more. It's there. It's paid by our tax dollar, that person. At least used to. I think he's still there. And this is just the last part. I mean, this is not just under Obama. It happened way before, beyond party lines. So anyway, now, question is, how can we, first of all, protect ourselves? Because I tell you something after that happened to me after I had on my show, what I'm talking about, our Christian, I mean, this is another thing strange that's happening to me lately. I know I may be tired sometimes, but I'm having, since the interview that I had with a former NSA whistleblower, that according to her facts and records, she's being targeted. A week later, I started to have interesting things happening to me. And I want your opinion, because maybe I'm just, I get suggested, and maybe that is my mind, okay? So I want to ask you things, because you have more experience. Maybe you say, look, Anand, what you're having, you just need a vacation. And I accept that. I'm not even saying, but after I did this interview a couple of months ago, I started, first of all, to have almost sometimes, many times during the day, when I was thinking about important things, like almost blackouts, like things that I forget 5 seconds, what happened to me? I have no idea. I thought maybe, okay, I need a vacation, or maybe I'm working too hard. That's okay. Then I started to hear in strange parts of town, normally when I'm closer to towers, normally when I'm closer to grids. I don't have, for example, a smart meter at my place, okay? And normally I go around part of Arizona, pretty rural, and I like it there, off the grid completely. And I'm fine there when I'm there. But when I am in some part of town that there is some sort of a grid, especially the smart meters, I start to hear voices. I thought, okay, this is just me thinking too much. Then I start to hear like almost a voice that talks to you. And I said, what the heck? I never had that before. I don't take any drugs. I am a law-abiding person. I have never had any, I don't have any violent thought. I'm a very mild, calm person. Of course, I'm a human being. But the point is, I have some moment out of the blue, I feel like I'm really stressed out. And more important, I feel like I am almost irritated. I need to leave that place. Seriously. So I don't know. And this is happening now less. But there's been a specific time after I did that show, talking specifically about target individuals, for after a week after, it started out of the blue to happen for almost a month. And I tell you, I felt like, wow, this is very weird. This is very weird. So what do you think? Am I just maybe a little suggested because, I've been talking about these things, maybe just in my mind, or maybe I'm to something?
Well, I want to say that usually if you have doubts about what's happening and it doesn't seem normal, you're right on with that, because nothing about this, it always feels foreign to your body when you're being hit by weapons. It's not something that just happens. I mean, you really think like, oh, that's weird. Now, as far as frequencies go, there's actually a little chart. I can forward it to you later that shows different frequencies that they can beam to you. When I say beam, it sounds, but it's actually sent to you a frequency in the form of a laser beam from either satellite or it even can be from a neighbor. It could be someone close by in a car that has the handheld weapon. They can create different emotions. For example, anger, or a lot of people feel a lot of these shootings are experiments gone bad, where people get real angry, and some of them will even say, well, they just say, well, they say things that, it suggests that people were following them or what have you, and it's always written off as schizophrenia. But basically, they can manipulate your emotions and your health and your heart health, because as they put the pressure on certain areas of the brain, it does affect the body.
Yeah.
Now, there's the sonic data weapon. Okay, and I'm going to just give a quick example. Like, okay, you have a dog whistle. The dog hears it,
Yes.
Nobody else does. Okay, you have the pest controls. So you plug them in and the pests go nuts and take off.
Yes.
The mouses or what. Okay, this is the same kind of weapon that they have. The Navy has it on a more sophisticated level, but basically it's one of the things they used on myself and my boys. I actually caught it you can catch this weapon on an AM radio. Mm-hmm. I actually had that checked out with an engineer. But you could catch it you put it on the AM radio, and you put it on no station, and because it's a sound, a wave, it'll show up. And I had bizarre sounds coming into the home, which I couldn't hear with the ears, but showed up in the audio. And it goes straight to the nervous system. It's very dangerous, very dangerous. And you can't sleep. You're restless. It makes you angry. The microwave, what it is you imagine inflammation of the brain. And I was actually in the hospital several times with severe headaches they had to treat with an anti-inflammatory, and because they were hitting me in a particular part of the brain. So all of this is possible remotely with frequencies, with sound beams, and as far as the voices go, I gave you an example. The Smithsonian in its institute even has a video where they were in a library and they brought this little black box thing in, and they were talking to kids in the library, and they were looking around because they could hear the voice that was put right in their mind.
Wow.
So this stuff is it's not only capable, but even people that are just bad people that have the money can get their hands on this stuff too.
Yes. Let me stop 1 second on something, because this is really, you're convalidating many things I've been thinking the last couple of months. And the name, of course, I know her pretty well, Karen Stewart, former NSA whistleblower. I've been talking to her also via email a lot lately, at least enough. double checking some of the things. I want to say something to the people that listening this show, especially for people that maybe they are listening and I believe they are the people responsible for this behind. I really think that more I learn about this, and more I want to talk about this. And I tell you why. At the end of the day, I couldn't care less what happened to me. I'm going to be gone anyway one day. We're all going to die. That's a fact. If the moment that we're afraid of death, we're going to be slaves. And I'm not going to go down like that. I'm going to go all the way I can. I have just a humble 3 hours weekly show. Of course, I don't want to get every week on this, but I'm going to be sure that I'll keep talking about this and documenting and sharing this information, because it's probably one of the most important things right now. You know, we have a lot of problems, don't get me wrong. People think, oh my gosh, we got to worry about the national debt. I agree. But guess what? You're going to be dead anyway before, or you're going to be so stupid and dumbed down and enslaved that don't even you know how many trillions are in the number, or how many zero you have in the trillions. You're going to be completely stupid. Control. Your brain is going to be like a zombie. And I believe that's what's coming down. And I tell you, I read statistics. There is a surge of people committing suicide, killing themselves. I know the economy stuff. I know a lot of things that are not exactly doing great. But there is something weird. Things didn't happen like that even in the worst time before. I don't know, maybe a coincidence. I don't know the whole story, but there is for sure a surge, and there are times during the year, and there are also locations. So all I can say, if you want to start to clean up the way they think about us, we are just, cuddles, and start to remove some of us. There are many ways to skin an animal, to kill us. And one way, of course, is to drive you crazy and you kill yourself. That's the bottom line. That's what I want to go to. Don't you think that could be also one of the reasons they want to try to test you? How much a human being can be, let's say, bear all this pain and all this psychological harassment till finally you say, I can't do this anymore. Don't you think this is one of the reasons, maybe?
Well, in the particular test I'm in, we're talking billions of dollars and hundreds of people involved, investors, universities. This is just some of the people that, and of course we know the police have to know about it because, and the gang stalkers, one of their jobs is they're keeping an eye on you because of the fact that these people are messing with your brain. They're messing with your body.
Yeah.
Gang stalking is a deception. It makes it look like they're a hate crime following you. No, they're making sure there's not going to be some crazy mass murder thing or something that's going to happen because they're doing all this to you. Yeah. They're watching you every second. That's why they're assigned to you. And they don't, and the thing of it is this technology can be used any way they choose to do it. But they want to see the short-term and long-term damage that these weapons do. Now, they have a name for a lot of these weapons that they call them non-lethal weapons, which means, they're not going to kill you. Mm-hmm. But over a long period of time, yes, you can die. Yeah. Because radiation causes cancer.
Yes.
And they're saying, well, it's non-ionizing and, but the microwave is a very dangerous frequency, and nobody wants to be sitting in front of an open microwave or get microwave, rays on them. So why do we want them? It's dangerous. We don't know what we're going to end up with in the end of this test. And they're basically looking at this from a clinical perspective. Like, we're just trying to find out what these weapons are going to do. Mm-hmm. Are you serious? It's so bizarre. And, to someone who, believes in her country. And, when I found out who was doing this, I was crushed. And, I thought it was some kind of hate crime at first.
Yeah.
At first I thought it was an ex attacking me. But see, what's bad about this is that it can be something like this. There's more and more things coming forward where somebody wanted someone's land. They just get a hold of some of this equipment and terrorize that person.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, they're not going to stay.
Yeah.
They're not going to stay, and they get that land for nothing. A senior person that they're waiting on an inheritance. There was one woman, they had pictures of really bad burns. They put her in a mental institution for saying somebody was climbing around on the roof, burning her. That story's online, and she died in an institution. Why? Because she said someone was burning her. She had burns all over her body.
Yeah.
And what happened? Somebody showed up at that nursing home, flashed the badge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or some kind of important document or something. She's crazy. And that was it. And that poor woman didn't stand a chance, and somebody got her property. So this stuff can be used in so many terrible ways. You just cross the wrong person, and you don't even mean to. You have a bad day, and you have words with someone, and that person happens to be in this mix. This is very dangerous.
Let me give some facts out there, because sometimes people say, okay, you're talking, give me some facts. And this is just not even a fact. It's just a simple example. There was a bill by former Representative Congressman Dennis Kucinich, H.R. 2977, was the Space Preservation Act of 2001. All you had to see that bill, the original bill, and there was the mention of chemtrails, particle beams, electromagnetic radiation, plasmas, ELF, extremely low frequency, ultra low frequencies, energy radiation, or mind control technologies. I wasn't exactly a political fan on economics when it comes down to Mr. Kucinich, but he was a man of integrity, at least to try to bring this up. When this bill was he was trying to sponsor this bill, that technically was called the chemtrail. They call him the Space Preservation Act of 2001. But when it was revealed in 2002, all these magic words that I just told you disappeared. Okay? So this is a fact. They have this technology. This is not even funny. It's so stupid to even talk about it. We had this technology. They have this technology probably 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Now it's a new level. So the point is, if you don't want to believe somebody can use it, you're a fool. You are just a fool. Like you still want to believe that was Building 7 didn't exist, or the Pentagon was hit by an airplane. Seriously, feel sorry for you. But I don't care. I keep talking, and I want to talk to people that want to listen. That's all I can do. Now, my goal is how we can defend ourselves. This is hours going so fast. It's not even funny. I want to start to find solutions, and I want your opinion, of course. Then I give you my little 2 cents. Even if maybe I may not be a TI, but I can start to feel, I can start to see how they really can damage you. I start to feel that there is a way that we can start to defend ourselves, at least partially. Give me, please, your way that you think a person that who thinks to be targeted, how they can try to find some way of defending themselves.
Well, it depends. If it's on the level that I'm at where I have implants and nano and all kinds of stuff in my body, I'm left pretty defenseless. At least that's what I've been told in the investigation. There are some things that work, like, for example, you can play an positive frequency around the negative frequencies. You can get signal jammers. You have to be careful, though, because most of these weapons, there's a signal. Mm-hmm. It comes in on a signal, like either a ham radio signal or
yes.
like similar to a radio signal.
Yes.
So basically, you can get a jammer. If you get a real strong jammer, the problem, if you're in a place where it's not going to hurt anything, that's fine. The problem is that if you're in a community and you're jamming everybody's networks,
yeah,
it's going to make some people mad.
Yes.
So You can also buy, different places that sell certain materials. In my case, most of it does not work. Now, because they're testing weapons on me, and this is a big, big budget operation, what I do is when I find something that works, I'm helping them perfect their weapons because they find a way around it.
Mm-hmm.
I had up to 8 layers of different shielding materials under my hat to protect my head because one of the tortures is thumps to the brain, and it's extremely painful. It's satellite hits to the brain. And I've had as many as 224 thumps to the brain in a day.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's awful torture. I mean, there's really no way to describe the stuff I suffer. But anyways, on a low target day, I get about 50 thumps to the brain. On a high target day, it can be between 150 and over 200. And it goes right through the skull and hits the brain.
Wow.
Because that's the technology. And whenever you're getting burnt with they use masers on me, and a maser is carried by electricity. And all you have to do is Google Army shoots maser with electricity, and you'll see, and I have pictures, I've caught pictures of the masers, and so has many other targeted people, and a maser burns really bad. And, now keep in mind there's different levels. These are maybe a handheld from the car. Regardless of whatever they are, they burn and they hurt. And then I've had people, at one point, the stalkers were all carrying handheld lasers, and they were burning me.
Wow.
And when I called, yeah.
Let me stop you 1 second because time is going so fast, and we got to go back one more time. This is my just 2 cents. Of course, I didn't go even through, not even close to what you were going through or what you went through. But I tell you something, when it comes down to your mind, the biggest weapon I found out really that you need to try to conquer, or at least to achieve, is faith. I don't care which religion. I'm not here to preach, okay? But better start to believe that there is good and there is evil. And you believe in good. And you stick to that good. You make like your little island. You're going to stay there no matter what. You do not leave that island. That's the one thing really I can tell you, that it's like can be a battle, can be something that is so powerful. They want to almost to transform you in something that you are not. That's for me the most important thing I would like to share with the listeners. Unfortunately, time is going fast. And second thing, is try to stay healthy. If you have a healthy body, you may also have a healthy mind. Don't eat garbage. Don't eat the GMO food. Don't drink their fluoride. Don't eat their processed. Don't eat all this estrogen. Try to understand what you're eating, because you are what you eat. If you don't nourish your body cannot regenerate itself, cannot defend itself. So the brain. Have a little education about what you're trying to eat. And have faith. This is the only 2 things I want to say, because of course then we can help ourselves to try to shield ourselves, and that's fine, it's great, but there is always something they can find more than we have. By the end of the day, we have a most powerful weapon, is our will and in our heart. That's the point. This is a battle, good against evil. Even if we are on planet Earth, doesn't matter. It's still just an extension of what's happening on the other dimension. We gotta stick to good. That's what I'm trying to say. You think I'm crazy, or maybe onto something?
No, I agree, and a lot of us that have survived this crime, we boost ourselves up. I just had a smoothie, lots of fresh fruits, vegetables, anything we can do, antioxidants. I know it's all very important, to watch what you put into your body to help preserve yourself. But I want to also say that I have a very strong case, and I feel as the technology grows and the good grows, and we're talking about good, and I want to say this: we need good doctors, people that are honest, that'll say, yes, this is happening, or no, we don't want to see people get implanted, and we're going to help. We need people that are willing to write letters and to stand up and speak up. And the more that we do in the lines of good and strengthen that good amongst ourselves, the more our voice becomes powerful. And in this this show and anybody else who is presenting this to people, and they think about it, they look up the patents, and they, like you said, they do the research. We're gathering up people that are good, and there are more good than evil. We just need them to know what's happening and to stand by our side.
Yes, because
And I believe we can do that.
And we have, honestly, as a human being, once you know at least part of the truth, because we don't know everything, of course, we have no other choice. You cannot stay silent anymore, because I tell you, this is what's happening now. It's a small scale. If I could see almost the future, I mean, forget about the boot on the face of humanity, like, the author of 1984 wrote. I'm talking about a boot on your brain. That's pretty much what's going to be. We're going to be completely... Go ahead.
I had a 3-year mind control experiment where, in the course of the weapons, where the weapons stopped temporarily, and they and my whole personality changed during those 3 years. Mm-hmm. So I know what they can do is pick a particular part of your brain, and they can focus on that brain. They can create a more sexual person. They can take the sexuality away. They can make you more of an aggressive person. They can make you a happy. They can, all these things that, now keep in mind, all of this could be used for good. They've proven that some electromagnetic radiation can be used to effectively against cancer. They've proven that they can do things with, people with brain issues with this, but it's not being used for good. Right. It could be.
Yeah, of course. A lot of things could be used for good, but at the point, when you're given the type of power, evil is going to use it for what they think is evil. Listen, I need to thank you and let you go for now, but please be in touch with me. And I want to say to all listeners, please, have an open mind. I'm not saying that I know everything. We know probably 1%, but whatever we know, let's try to learn from each other and let's share what we know, okay? You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna. And if anybody else has information with proofs and evidence of what's going on, go to lovegunsfreedom.com and send me an email. I would like to hear from you. Don't go away. Ready for our number 2. It's going to be all about guns. In this world where everything seems to be going sideways, when you need things set straight, Zanna Coffee Straight Shot Espresso. Start your day with a bang. The best organic and GMO-free coffee beans from around the world to amplify your senses and enhance love for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Zanna Coffee brings you happiness in every cup. Fair trade, certified, sustainable, organic coffee. That means we do not use slaves. Free Zanna songs with every coffee bag. Find Zanna Coffee at www.zannacoffee.com www.zannacoffee.com. Don't be cheap, you deserve the best. Get Zanna Coffee at www.zannacoffee.com.